My name is Paulo Nielsen. I'm in charge of the first operation in Brazil, also BMG Mining from the United States. We we are a company who develops some mines in Brazil. Also, we've been exporting manganese and copper ore. Also, some tin. We made some exports of tin, and we are one of the largest exporter in Brazil without mine. Okay, so after Vale and Buritirama, we probably are one of the big exporters of manganese ore in Brazil.
Wonderful. So thank you for participating in our video cast. I'd like to know how are you facing some problems in the mining export industry nowadays, especially the disruption of the logistics. How are you facing it? Is a big problem? Is going to be fixed soon or not?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for our industry, especially in Brazil, because the biggest market is China, okay? And we are the farthest country, supply country to China. Africa and Australia are much closer than us. So this high cost of freight, ocean freight, is destroying the market, destroying the margins, and create lots of problems on the industry. Except Vale and the big ones who has a very strong power and long-term contracts. All the small miners are suffering. Okay, and on our case, the only alternative is to stop the operation, the export operation.
Okay, are you waiting for something to happen in order to go back?
I believe that we are facing a problem that's specific. I think I'm going to change my place too, because the connection is not good. Okay, we are facing a problem that it's because of the COVID. We have several problems on the chain, on the supply chain worldwide, and these cause this problem not only on bulk side but also in the containers. So I believe this price will, of course, will not stay. I believe maybe in 1-2 months we'll start to go down, maybe 3, not more than 3, in my opinion. And I expect by the first semester of next year, we're gonna come down to more reasonable numbers. Okay, I don't think it will be so lower than what used to be, but close, at least close.
Okay, so I understood that we stop the operations until we have reasonable prices for logistics. And speaking of which, I'd like to know, how are you facing this big problem today between the SGS certification of manganese in Brazil and when they arrive in China? I'm facing, or you can see, I've been talking to a lot of people in this sector, and they told me there is a big problem when the SGS leaves Brazil at 42% of quality and arrives in China with 20 something. So can you tell me where is the problem and how can we avoid this kind of misunderstanding between SGS and CIQ?
Okay. We have not many problems, small problems. Of course, when it happens, it causes some headache, but generally speaking, this is not a major issue. Okay, it's something that we've been working to minimize the problem. Okay, so you can use one or two survey companies in Brazil and also in China. So, but for us, this was not a major problem.
Okay, so what do you recommend for Chinese buyers in Brazil? They are facing a lot of problems with certification of mines and some scams in Brazil. What do you recommend to them in order to make money in Brazil as they do in Australia and South Africa?
Yeah, there's a regulatory problem in Brazil. Okay, that and especially in the state of Pará, we start to work. We purchase several mines at Tocantins state, also in Bahia, but especially in Tocantins, and we don't face the same problems. Pará is a little bit more complicated because the system doesn't work properly there. Okay, but what I say is, if you don't want to get to put yourself in risk, do not do operations directly, because you're gonna be facing these problems a lot. Our company that's established in Brazil, we also have problems sometimes. We have a compliance, but sometimes even us have some problems. Okay,
so you need a trading company to be the intermediary with the miner.
That's for sure. If you want to try to go by yourself, you're gonna burn your hand.
Okay. Speaking of which, Chinese buyers, they want to talk to the manganese because they can get better prices. I understood so far in this sector, and they accuse the trading companies of put the overprice in order to make money. Sometimes you have the trading company from China asking for manganese, and they don't want to talk to trading companies as well. So do you think that that's the reason of the problem? They go direct to the miner. The miner has no conditions of supplying the manganese or the iron ore?
Okay. You need to understand that we have a supply chain. Okay, each part of the supply chain, they assume some risk, and also this risk means profit. Okay, a margin. Okay, so if I want to sell directly to Chinese company, not going through traders, I can gonna have a better margin, but also I'm carrying the risk. Okay, to put the material in China and sell there. The same applies to Brazil. So if you buy from traders and you want to have a better margin, you need to go downstream on the supply chain, and you're going to assume another risk, because why you have the traders? Because the miners, they don't have the money, they don't have the knowledge to go to sell, to export directly. So you put the trading, of course, there is a risk, there is a margin there. So if you want to assume this margin, you're going to increase your risk. The question is, are you prepared to assume this risk? So this is what the Chinese traders need to understand.
Okay. Well,
everything is regarding money on the end of the day.
Of course, yeah. You have to follow the money. But what are the main risks in the manganese sector in Brazil, or iron ore sector in Brazil? Because we see a lot of deals, a lot of movement in the market. In the end of the day, the mining or the miners don't have any money, even to get license, even to professionalize themselves. So I don't understand that. Nobody understands that.
as I was explaining, we have some issues in Pará, okay, and this is part of the risk. So you have small miners. The problem is there's a lot of people who doesn't know how to work, doesn't have the money, and they launch themselves in adventures.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's they say, oh, I have a letter of credit, so I'm gonna monetize. This is urban land. Nobody does that. Okay, so the question is, we have basically two mines, two big mines. Vale is going out of the market, and Buritirama. Okay, and then you have a lot of small miners. None of these small miners can assume to export big amounts of ore. Okay, so and then you have to go to three small miners, and it's you need to understand what their capacity, if they export before, what the expertise, because otherwise it's an adventure. It's, no,
I know.
it's not easy to export. It's not easy to be on the market.
I know.
And there is a reason why it's not many companies in here, because the risk is high. So if you are able to to understand and to work with this risk, you can survive. Otherwise, you're gonna burn your hand for sure.
Okay, so before you burn your hand, they have at least my Chinese friends, they have a very good, or I think it's a very good way of checking, double checking the mines. They just ask for the CIQ. So I think the CIQ, this document, the China Inspection Quarantine, CIQ, it's a basic demand for the Chinese buyers. If they have this on their hands, they have enough confidence to go ahead. Do you think it's enough, the CIQ, or what else is missing in the conversation?
And usually I ask for BLs. I ask when you check past performance, you check everything, not just a piece of paper, because they can defraud you. So I ask for more documents. Okay, in Brazil, you need to check with A&M. You need to check with environmental license. So depend what type of business you are doing, you need more documents. What I've been seeing is a lot of people, a lot of customers, they got really excited because, oh, the price is good. The price is not good. The price is
terrible.
No. The price is implying a premium because of the risk.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So when we buy material and we sell in China, I have a track of performance. So when they buy from me, I don't give them this premium. But when you're gonna sell your product, if you don't have a track or whatever, they're gonna charge you a premium, and then the accountability doesn't match, because the prices are very depressed, the freights are very high, and they, oh, I think I can do, but on the end of the day they can, and then you have a problem. I've been helping several customers call me, oh, please help me. I give money to somebody. I'm in the middle of the export, and it's not much can be done. Okay, once the thing is not good, it's not good. It's not going to work.
Yeah. So, but when you talk about the premium or about the price you some people charge, sometimes very small price, there is sometimes a big problem, because when you jump in the deal, and you start to talk about the conditions, you find out in the end of the day, they are not serious about that. They are just speculators, and they are fake miners. So the losses are huge, you know, in time and money.
Because they are dealing with a paper dealer. I say always say paper dealer.
Papeleiro in Portuguese. Yeah.
Yeah, papeleiro, yes.
No.
You're only dealing with, they got in the internet some offer and they jump and they sell. Man, I have like, I receive 1-2 calls a day of people offering material. But when you start to talk to the person, 99%, 98% of the people that you talk doesn't have an idea what they're talking.
I know.
They don't have even idea what is a quality certificate, what you need to check on the quality certificate, what is a past performance. So you decide.
Yeah.
You have money, you need to be careful. Okay.
Yeah. Looks like
when you go to Africa, you start to deal in Africa, you're gonna lose money if you don't know the market.
Yeah.
Because we only have basically one big mine of manganese in Brazil today. That's Buritirama.
And Vale.
Yeah, Vale, but Vale is shutting down their operation. So
yeah,
it's not going to be there.
Yeah. So interesting you saying that. What do you recommend? I know you are very experienced trader. You do a due diligence in the first moment with the offer or with the guy who is offering the manganese or iron ore. In your mind, what's the main sign that the guy is bullshitting you?
When he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, like CIQ, SGS, and
yeah. When you start to talk, what their operation? Oh, I can do 30,000 tons per month. Oh, good. Go ahead.
Okay. And but the main sign, if the guy knows the documents or have some experience, how do you detect is a fake offer?
Basically, you need to check the past performance. Check the name of the vessel. Check because you have ways to check.
Okay.
You know? Use the buyer, CIQ, certificate of quality. You can check the SGS. You can check meter. You can check if it's real or not.
Interesting. Well, it's good to know that you have a process in order to do the due diligence. You have to get all the documents and compare them and go to the websites, this kind of thing.
Basically, today, I don't do this anymore because we export our own material, but it's just how to do it. I've been seeing lots of Chinese companies losing big amount of money because just they give away the money. Yeah,
they advance money sometimes, and sometimes they have some Chinese people in Brazil that representing them. How do you see that?
Yeah. It's the same. It's not because the guy is Chinese or speaks Chinese. He's a good guy. You need to check. In Portuguese, we have who see the face doesn't see the heart. So
I've learned that we have a good client called Sumac in China. That is one of the largest trading companies in China. So they get your material and they offer in the Chinese market. When you have a trading company with another trading company and that's trying to sell your material from a trading company in China, you still have a competitive price?
You're gonna receive less money because the end price is one. Everything you put in the middle will reduce the margin of everybody, and especially from the miner. At some point, it doesn't worth to go ahead.
Okay, like today you don't have this competitive price in logistics.
Yeah, today the problem is like has a name and a surname. Is the freight cost. So the only problem. If we were having regular prices on containers or bulk, the market would be good, would be great.
Okay, so you consider having vessels to China? Because some trading companies, they told me they have 2 or 3 vessels from themselves, and they have a more competitive price because they have the vessels. Is true or not?
I don't believe, because if you have a vessel and you can sell this vessel for $100 per ton, if you're going to do by yourself for 50, you're going to be losing $50. So doesn't make sense.
Yeah. We are talking about manganese. You the same thing for iron ore and copper?
And iron ore is a much more complicated business, because you need to have much higher quantities, and the margins are smaller because the market is very competitive. So you are competing with a very big company, big companies who has a fantastic logistics system. So iron ore is, for me, it's a very complicated operation. Unless you have a mine very close to the sea, and the problem is, even if you can supply material to full a big vessel, to make a big vessel. Otherwise, you're not competitive at all.
Cool. And copper?
No, copper is better. Copper, it's a little better, but
okay.
Also the problems on the market as well. All them, we used to say your neighbor yard is greener than yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same. When you're not, I do manganese. Oh, copper is better. But when you start to go copper, oh man.
Okay. So you are a good trader, a big trader in Brazil. Why are you investing in areas like Tocantins, Pará, in the north, and Bahia in the north and northeast of Brazil, or Minas Gerais in the southeast? I like to show some kind of geography of the mining companies in Brazil. Why are we investing on this now? Why it's not a headache for you?
No, because we think there's money to be made in this sector, and we were facing problems on the supply side. Okay, so if you want to go ahead on the business, you need to do this. Otherwise, you're gonna face problems.
Okay, and what?
And you don't know if you are able to deliver.
What are the most promising areas in Brazil?
Pará is a very interesting area. Tocantins is shown to be. We are getting interesting results in Tocantins, very interesting. There's still some areas in Bahia and Minas Gerais. It's not many things left, but still some opportunities. Brazil there is several mining frontiers. Brazil needs to face the problems, the environmental problems, the regulatory problems. But I believe that we are facing some problems today, but we will manage to work around and improve things and make things starts to work. Okay, so it's a problem, because it was very easy. Big companies were coming here and start big business, but the environment is not this.
Yeah. I interview a director, a lawyer from the National Mineral Agency, and he was talking about how the environmental to change the laws in the country to facilitate the investment of foreign countries, or from China or United States, in the Brazilian mining sector. And he told me they're going to have a new laws, new regulation pretty soon. How do you see the investments of foreigners in our country?
Pedro, what I think is once the market, we have more stable laws, we doesn't cause nobody feels secure to invest in the area. Okay, so even for Brazilians are not very easy to invest. On our case, we have lots of problems. We lost money. Sometimes we had problems, but we learn with this problem because we are here. We understand the culture, and for us it's easier. But for a foreigner, this is much more complicated. But anyway, there is some opportunities to make here, and I believe, as I told you, with these new regulations, I believe when the Brazilian starts to invest in the area, then the foreigners will start to invest as well.
Okay.
Today, not many Brazilian companies want to invest because it's a crazy environment.
What do you mean by crazy?
Crazy. You are surprised every time with problems that you didn't think that exist.
Okay. Like what?
Regulatory.
Okay.
All problems, all kinds of, especially in Pará. Okay. Other states is better, but especially in Pará. But they are working. Okay. You don't solve problems in one day. Okay.
Okay.
We expect that with this new law, we create space for solutions. Today's the solutions are not easy. Also, you have social problems. You have lots of things in Pará states, especially other states as well. We have a big problems of prospectors, especially gold prospectors that go into reserves and everything. But these need to be solved. We need to find a way to solve this because it's a social problem as well. But on the other hand, you have the environmental that today is very important, not for us Brazilians, because you can see the climate change and we are going to face a very dry period, and this is part of the climate change that we are facing.
Yeah.
So the country will need to find a way to create alternatives to give jobs to these people, but not destroying the environment.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy equation to be solved.
Okay. Speaking of which, I'm remember now Osiris Silva, the former president of Embraer. He used to say that when you sell an airplane, you sell each kilo or each pound have much more technology than everything. So they sell airplanes for $100-200 million. When you sell raw material, it's a very basic thing, and normally in the third world countries, do you think that the future of the mining company in Brazil would be to process the raw material and sell for a better price to other countries, or we're gonna keep selling raw material always?
Yes, it's not only raw material. Every country, every area, every place in the world, they have some competitiveness.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have something that they are better. Okay, in Brazil or in Australia have the same questions that you are asking now. say, oh, can we do this? No, you can't, because, for instance, oh, I produce 400 million tons of iron ore. I'm going to produce 200, 300 million tons of steel. No, we don't have a market. We don't have the investment capacity, and also we'll create a lot of environmental problem as well. Okay, so my opinion, we cannot go into this kind of adventure, try to create magic. You don't create magic. Sometimes you can create condition. For instance, Embraer. Why does Embraer exist? Because the government invests in ITA. ITA is technological center of aeronautics on the 50s. So you create condition to a company develop. The same all this industry that depends on iron ore, copper. We don't have this capacity. We don't have this market. So let's do what we do best on agriculture and also on mining sector. Of course, we need to try to damage little as possible on the environmental. Environmental is a very important issue for us to deal with.
Okay? Of course.
Answer, but we need to find a way to work without this damage that we are making today.
Okay, so I understood that you are welcoming foreign investors, but we have in this sector we have China, United States, Canada, and Australia. Which one would be better thing to Brazil nowadays? Which the best match for Brazil?
Pedro, the money is, we have a lot of money in the world. Money doesn't have a face.
Yeah.
Indian money, American money, Chinese
nationality,
money. Yeah. So what you need to have is good projects. When you have good projects, you're gonna bring money to your project, including Brazil, because Brazil also are creating the financial system are creating several funds that can work with you. But the problem is, today it's very risky to go in this area. When you talk to banks, oh, I'm the mining sector, okay? They only like Vale, because all the rest, with still exceptions like the CBMM and other big miners, Kinross, whatever, it's very complicated because the risks are very high. But when you give some credibility, you can see ahead, you can forecast better. Okay?
You can predict,
sorry. When you can predict better, the money in Brazil will flow to mining sector. Okay, so the problem is once we solve the regulatory problems, the money will come, and then we come from China. Who come first? Who come first?
Okay?
I don't believe need to be American. Need to be China. Need to be Indian. Doesn't matter. Money doesn't have a face.
I know. And it's really interesting because they told me that they don't have investments in Brazil because the banking system cannot finance the operation because the miner doesn't have the land, doesn't have a license from the government to go ahead with that. Is that true?
No. On the past, you could not, because the mining, we call the undersurface.
Yeah.
The undersurface belongs to the government. So you receive a license to dig and take the ore. Okay. So before they used to say that you could not give your permission, your mining permission as a guarantee. But this changed already, okay? But what's happened is a mining permission is a piece of paper. Unless you have a very good geological indicator, yeah, it's nothing.
You dig.
Yeah, I make holes here. What we call hole digging. It's drilling.
Yeah.
Some drilling here, and we have. I attest with a strong certificate that I have 1 million ton of manganese. Of course, this has value. But the problem is today, 99% of the companies doesn't have a good survey.
Yeah,
they don't have. So they come to you with paper, pieces of paper. Okay, so no, once we start to have good projects, the money will flow.
I agree with you. Last question. Tell me the secrets. What's the return in this sector normally? How much? What's the percentage of the deal you put in your pocket?
Yeah, no, it's much less than people think it is.
Okay.
Because
can you be more transparent? How about 10%, 20%?
No, it's very complicated to give you a number. Okay.
Okay.
On the day it's the risk pay its prices. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes you make money, but you lose money. So it's like this. And also, especially on the manganese market, the market is a kind of a roller coaster as well.
Yes.
So out of the Brazilian problems, you have the market problems. It's very complicated. People who doesn't have a good heart doesn't survive on this market because it's a roller coaster.
Okay, I'm going to give you 3 options about the return: 100%, 50%, or 10%. Which one you can choose?
No, I'm not going to. Sorry to tell you this because some people will think that I'm over calculating or under calculating. So it's not a magic number. It's not a magic number.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Paulo, and I appreciate your clarifications about some questions, and hopefully, and congratulations about your company. Trust is a very well-regarded company in Brazil. And with this videocast, I hope you have more clients and more options now in the future. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.